welcome back to Susan's Just Making It, where I spend my time making stuff, messes, chaos, and I'm just trying to make it through life. For those of you that have been here before, welcome back. First time here, glad you decided to stop by. If you feel so inclined, I would really love it if you'd give me a thumbs up, go ahead and leave a comment, subscribe, and even share the video if you enjoy it. So today I am going to share another project with everyone that I created a while back, and I'm all about reduce, reuse, and recycle. Those of us that do crafting, we're often left with lots of odds and ends left over from projects that we're not really sure what to do with, and we don't want to waste. Especially I don't. I hold on to every little scrap thinking, oh, I'll use it eventually. This is a project that I did to try to use up some of the odd little pieces of this and that I wasn't sure what to do with, but were too good to throw out. So a lot of little recycled pieces here and there. Throw it together, try to make something of it. In this little album, I included some photos that didn't quite fit in anywhere else. Back years ago, when we didn't have a lot of access to printing our own photos and cropping them and sizing them the way we wanted, and we had to get them processed, sometimes we ended up with photos that had a lot of yucky backgrounds or weren't quite cropped the way we wanted or weren't quite the sizes we could work with, and they really didn't work for a traditional scrapbook spread or weren't the right size for pocket scrapbooking. So what do you do with them? You throw them in a shoebox. Well, in all likelihood, people aren't really going to dig through a shoebox to look at photos. So I decided to put some of these strange shaped, odd photos in a little book while using scraps at the same time. So this is a little album full of photos of my kids through the years that just didn't quite fit in anywhere else. I used a lot of 6x6 papers in this. This book's approximately 6x6, and that's another way to use up those paper pads that I don't use for a lot of other things, and I have a lot of 6x6 bags. So basically there's no chipboard or anything, it's just all paper. Binded it with my Bind It All and just ran with it. So the cover is just a piece of yellow patterned paper. Put a sparkly little chipboard piece that says family. Cut out some circles, some butterfly punches, gemstones, little few tags, just to fancy it up a tiny bit. Now the only problem with using liquid adhesive is sometimes it will warp your paper, but it's not a huge deal. But just be mindful when you use liquid adhesive to go a little easy on it, because that will happen. In this you'll find a lot of little banners, because I tried to use up scraps and just put some color in here and there, and I looked a little plain when I was done, so I just threw some stuff on there to fancy it up a little bit. And some pattern paper on that one before we get into it. So again, some little embellishing that I did with little pieces of odds and ends, different little journaling cards that I punched and put in here. You'll see a lot of things that are different sizes and shapes just to make it interesting and to use up stuff. So my older son Zachary, when he was a baby, and threw that photo in there. It's my daughter. Some more embellishing. I just kind of had fun with it and just threw stuff together. Like I said, all different sizes. That's my older son Zachary. My younger son Joshua, when he was small. Like I said, a lot of these little odd embellishments. I use these cards to, put little notes. I put a lot of notes to my kids in this book. One of Zachary's school pictures, because they always give you like 101 that you're going to be left with. So let's threw that in there. It's my daughter when she was a baby. I put a little tag in here to mix it up a little bit, and later on I might go and jot some stuff down on that. There's another tag, make it interesting. I threw that in there with a tab on it. That's Zachary when he was younger. Zachary's on the back here as well, a couple days old. I love this photo of my 3 kids together. It's rare that you get them all together without them fighting when they were younger. So a couple butterflies. Like I said, all these are on little 6x6 papers. There's Josh when he was younger. Just had fun with like little shapes and so forth. Another tag I threw in there, and I put them, as you'll see, different heights to mix it up. Made a little pocket here with a little note, with a little bifold card. Stuck that in there. Little flower. And on the back, photo of my daughter. Some more embellishing. This is, and I think it's Teresa Collins, some of her collection. They're for making little notebooks and stuff, so I threw that in there. Zachary. Like I said, that's part of the paper, but just a little embellishing there. Here is Michelle when she was about a day old. Another little, just a little piece of cardstock that was floating around, so I cut and made a page. And that's Michelle again when she was a couple years old, with fat cheeks. It's my boys when they were young. Zachary again. And I like that this just happened to have some decoration here, so when I added to it, it kind of just flowed nicely. And then we have Joshua over here. He was in high school. Another, I think it's where you, like I said, you make your own little notebook. A lot of this stuff came from here and there, and just, you know, you go through a box of random stuff and just put it together. This is Michelle when she was about 1.5 years old. Then I put pattern paper on the back because I think it was just plain. And there's Joshua, I think, when he was in middle school. I had these little acetate pieces that I decided to just throw one in there. Like I said, I just tried to put a little mix of whatever. Here's the boys again. On the back, I have Michelle. Some embellishing. Like I said, these are all pictures that were processed when you had to go and get your photos processed, and sometimes you didn't have things centered that well, and they were just floating around in a shoebox. So this is one way to do something with them so they'd be appreciated more than sitting in a box. Michelle and Zach when they were younger, and here's the 2 of them when they were younger yet. There are a few empty pages in here. If I come across other odd photos floating around, I have some room to just add them right along. Project Life card I thought would look pretty. This was a little file folder that came in some scrapbooking stuff, so I threw that there, and it gives me more space for pictures and writing. And like I said, it's not filled up. Some of my albums are not completely full, and that's fine because I can go back later and add something, and I don't have to worry about it being full and it's like, oh, I wish I had an extra page to put this in there. Zachary as a teenager. Let's put these little pebbles on here. He was 14. That's the little 14. Let's see, my daughter again with a little tag. This came in some little ephemera. It's an old, looks like a book cover or a title page. So I put that in there and backed it with some pattern paper. I'm going to show its baby. Another sheet that I used. As you can see, it's a little bit smaller than the other ones. And I will admit, some of these being a different size are due to the fact that when I was punching them for the bind it all, some of them I messed up the alignment. So I had to trim them to make them line up, and I just went with it. So we have a pocket there, and like I said, a couple little cards that I just put some notes on to throw into the pocket. Michelle and Zachary in kindergarten. This was another little ephemera piece that was floating around. Like I said, I tried to use up little bits and pieces of things, and I backed it with pattern paper again and made it a little page, and that's Joshua. This was with some cast-offs, and it's actually like 2 little tickets, and I just glued around the 3 edges and made it into a pocket. And again, I put in a note to my children in the bifold cards and put a picture of Joshua. And I did a lot of the pockets on the bottom, so I decided to do a side pocket, and again a little note. And this is just some pattern paper that happened to have a grid on the back, so I took advantage of that for lines to write on. Got another sheet of 6x6 paper and pictures of the kids, Michelle and Zach. A little card. I went ahead and made just a little card into a page. It's Michelle. And the back's empty, so I can, you know, write whatever. A little bike that was already printed on the paper. Picture of Josh. The back, again, like I said, blank in case I come across another photo that I want to include later. Let's see what we got here. This, I think, is just a piece of cardstock that I cut down and made into a page. Just try to use like odd pieces and throw it together. I just kind of went with, as you can see, the yellow, teal, green, so that it did have some cohesive nature to it, but just tried to use scraps and stuff like that. Michelle, she's about 1.5 years old there, I believe, around Christmas time. Another journaling card. Again, I can go back and write on it later. Just drew a butterfly on there. Backed it with pattern paper. Picture of Zachary. Then I have another piece that I went ahead and adhered the journaling right to the page. And it's just glued right on. Back to add to later. Another piece of cardstock. Like I said, I just cut and rounded, made it into a page. Photo of Zach. Some embellishing. Just threw this on the back to decorate it up a little bit and make it look pretty. Another pocket. Some decorating. Another journaling card just thrown in there. And that's the back. And the back's just plain paper. So basically, this is just an example of how you can take your odds and ends, your scraps of paper, your cast off embellishments, little pieces here and there, and just throw it together and make something of it. And like I said, I just kept the color scheme, you know, kind of throughout. But you know, you get a collection, you make a few projects, you're left with a little piece of this, a little embellishment of that, and you just put it together, and you'd be surprised what you can make with your cast offs. So I hope you liked it. It's one of my favorites, you know, it made out of junk, and it works, and I'm happy with it. And like I said, I have some space to add to it, and I'm sure I will. But anyway, that's that. So if you liked it, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Until next time, see you later. Have a great one. Bye-bye.